Hey trainers, Alakaham here with some more Pokemon video magic, and I apologize that you can't see my facial expressions and reactions for this particular video, but I have been sitting on it for a few days and I just wanted to go ahead and get the content ready, and it's almost bedtime for me, so I am already kind of gearing up for bed, and we're gonna have a little bit different video this time where I am just gonna try and sit here and casually give you some narration while sitting here comfy in bed, and it's sort of fun to be able to just look at some of these Pokemon Go strategies and videos and battles in a little bit of a more low stress sort of environment here. So the video that I want to share with you features Xerneas in the Master League, and Xerneas is currently the 5-star raid boss, and I had caught a bunch of Xerneas from the last time that it was in rotation, and all of them were 2 stars, so I didn't really want to power anything up, much less use an elite fast TM, right, to get its legacy move, Geomancy. And I finally got a 3-star and decided to go ahead and power it up. So yeah, Xerneas has been working pretty well, although if you were paying close attention at the beginning of the video, you probably noticed that the downside here is I am totally out of charge TMs, so I don't have the ideal moveset. So for Xerneas, you're probably going to want Geomancy, the elite fast move, for energy gain and for stab, and you're going to want close combat, like I have, for coverage, and then you want Moonblast so that you get an actual fairy type charge move to hit back against dragons and to do neutral against other stuff. And I have Megahorn on mine, so we're just gonna play through as many games as we can, and well, in a set for this particular video, and we're gonna see what we can do with Xerneas. It could also be stronger, right? I'm gonna start feeding it some more rare candy and powering it up a little bit more, but it's okay, it works all right. So the logic behind the team here is I've got this fairy type up front, and it has a fighting type charge move for coverage, which is great, and the stuff that could pose a real problem to it would be like Mewtwo or Steel types. I need to have some extra protection there because Xerneas has close combat, but it's not ideal using that all the time, given the fact that it drops Xerneas' defense. So I have double Ghost in the back, and that's how I have been playing through these games. So on the one hand, I have Dawnwing's Necrozma, and on the other, I have Giratina Origin. So these are both pretty cool Pokemon in addition to the Xerneas, and of course Necrozma is relatively new, just made available from GoFest. And in general, I'm just a fan of Giratina. I think he's super cool, and this worked out really nicely for me with a Mewtwo in the back because I've got 2 ghosts. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get to the charge move that I wanted there. I should have just gone for the Ominous Wind and relied on Shadow Claw damage, but that's fine. So basically, I am now trying to get to the Moongeist Beam before they get to Precipice Blades, and I am narrowly able to get to Moongeist Beam and take out the Groudon. So there's 2 games where I was able to actually pull some wins, even though I have an underpowered Xerneas with the wrong moveset. That's been kind of a theme in my videos recently because charge TMs are really difficult to come across right now. Okay, we've got Xerneas into Golden Go. That's not great, but I have 2 ghost types to do at least neutral damage to it in the back, and my opponent comes in with a Kyogre. Kyogre is not going to appreciate Moongeist Beam. Yep. And they've built up enough that this could be unpleasant. I was counting on it being a Surf. I was counting on them not quite having enough energy for that Origin Pulse. And in this case, we are going to come in with the Giratina. And Shadow Claw is going to work better than Hex, which is what the Golden Go is using. And I can keep throwing Ominous Winds rather than having to go all the way to Shadow Ball. Whereas my opponent is going to have to use Shadow Ball as its Ghost-type move. And my opponent has a Dragonite in the back. In general, this is really good for Xerneas, except you will recall I do not have I do not have any Fairy-type charge move here. So we are just going to throw the Megahorn, because Megahorn doesn't debuff us, and just try and do as much damage as possible with the fast move from Xerneas there. I guess oh, right. They were almost at a Dragon Claw, so I threw the close combat just to chip as much damage as I could, because I need the Giratina to get rid of the Dragonite, and we just barely do it without having to use our shield for a Dragon Claw. Now we can go for 2 Ominous Winds and not have to worry about the Golden Go getting to a Shadow Ball, so Giratina is going to clutch the game. I'll mention I've really enjoyed using Xerneas, and especially after I have the right moves set up on it. I have played a few sets with the actual correct moves on it, but this was pretty fun just to have an opportunity to kind of play with Xerneas and see what I could do with it. Okay, Xerneas into Mewtwo is exactly the kind of worst nightmare scenario I had in mind when I was building the rest of this team. So I'm going to come in with the Necrozma and correctly shielded a Shadow Ball there. Didn't want to throw my move just yet because I figured they would have something to catch it. But in this case, that worked out fine because whatever I throw was going to be neutral against the Groudon. We should be able to tank 1 Precipice Blades, and they baited us with Fire Punch, so I'm definitely going to go for the Moongeist Beam now. So Necrozma is going to hit like a truck, take out that Groudon, and they have a Rayquaza in the back. This is really good for us because, of course, we have a Fairy type that we can use. So here we go. Yeah. Gonna go ahead and bring in the Xerneas, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and let that through, hoping that we can close the game with Giratina. Also hoping to take them off guard, but yeah, unfortunately the Mewtwo went ahead and shielded that. I was thinking most people don't run Megahorn on their Xerneas, and that would have been pretty cool to like one-shot a Mewtwo with a Bug-type move because they're not used to seeing Bug-type moves. But you know, it's alright. So we are in range where a Breaking Swipe would be okay. Yeah, just barely, and we're going to have the last little bit that we need from Ominous Wind. If they had built up to an Outrage, that would have been a problem, but we are barely able to close this game with the Giratina. Giratina Origin is a great closer in my ELO range. I'm in Ace rank right now, it's written in tiny letters on my screen because I'm doing this recording on my phone. I have been all over that Ace range from the very start of it up to on the precipice of rank 22, but right now it's a little bit lower for me, and we're just focusing on having fun, right? So I was able to fake out my opponent's Togekiss, making them think that I had Moonblast with Xerneas when in fact I did not. I did get another shield for my opponent. They were really afraid of Moongeist Beam there. So I'm going to come in with the Xerneas. I am going to shield this because I really want to get the close combat through. Xerneas is my only Pokemon that really does much of any damage to the Tyranitar, and then the Togekiss comes in and finishes me off. This is not a great situation to be in because I'm going to need to protect my Giratina from getting completely obliterated by this Togekiss. And even though the charge moves don't do that much, the fast move is so difficult that I need to shield the charge moves just to have enough strength left over to try anything else. Unfortunately, I was not going to have enough energy left over to deal with the Haxorus in the back. I did record a bonus battle, so we've already been through 5, and I won 4 out of 5 on that set, and that was really fun playing with the wrong moves for a little bit, just for funsies, while I tried to get some more charge TMs. I decided to include a battle where I actually had Moonblast, so my opponent was in a poor position to begin with. I'm going to throw one close combat to either get a shield or chip damage, and then I'm going to swap into my Giratina. I did this because the Necrozma was going to be taking neutral damage and could possibly lose that matchup depending on how things went. So I wanted a Pokemon that was going to resist virtually everything from the Kyogre here. It's a very cool shiny Kyogre, so it's always fun to come across those. Giratina's going to get to that ominous wind before they get to Surf, and we are going to go ahead and come in against the Rhyperior. I'm going to shield here because we are at the Shadow Ball, and I want to go ahead and threaten this Rhyperior because I don't have any Pokemon that's like a really comfortable matchup against it. I'm going to come in with my Necrozma for some reason or another, probably expecting to tank a Breaking Swipe, yep, and then my opponent comes in with a Dragonite. Oh, it's because I knew my opponent had a Dragonite, if I just remembered 2 minutes ago or whatever to the beginning of this battle. Dragonite's going to be no problem to take out with Moonblast, so Dragonite is still a bit of a problem if I'm running Megahorn, but Moonblast, that is going to work out great. And then, of course, Close Combat is going to deal super effective damage against the Rhyperior. So they needed to shield that up to save their Rhyperior, and I'm gonna go for broke trying to get to the Moongeist Beam. They have the Breaking Swipe. It's not quite enough to KO, and we are going to wrap up this game with the Moongeist Beam. I hope you've been enjoying Xerneas. Again, back in 5-star raids right now. Really cool Pokemon to have, and I've really enjoyed using it, and I hope you have enjoyed watching the video. Like and subscribe.